Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome along. We are live on YouTube today. I'm trying to get at least some live content up. So if you are in here and in the chat and do catch me during the broadcast, then come and say hello. And if there's enough numbers, we'll do a little bit of Q&A. At the end, primarily, we are going to do another top 10 list, and then hopefully we'll get into a bit of discussion at the end about anything anybody in the chat wants to talk about. But first off, we've done a few fun top 10 lists. We did the top 10 quickest goals in the championship this past season. So let's go through the top 10 last gasp latest goals in the championship this season, and then hang around and we'll do a bit of chit chat at the end. I have been through on who scored, and we're doing the latest goals, the last ditch efforts. Not all of them winning goals, not all of them spectacular, but here is what the numbers say. And at number 10, Trevor says Mitrovic versus Swansea at home. You've got to be pretty late to get in this list, is all I'll say. At number 10, on January the 11th, timed at 95 minutes and 18 seconds. That's number 10 is on 95 minutes, so you can see what we're dealing with here. Ben Watson for Forest away at Reading. Baggies Forever says Charlton against us. I think that's a 94. Got to be 95 plus to get on this list. Ben Watson for Forest at Reading. He smashes this goal in. The corner's kept alive. In with the left foot on the volley. Wales SKTF is here. There is some Cardiff goals in here. Don't worry about that. He smashes this one in, Ben Watson, on 95 minutes to give Forest a 1-0 lead. But would you believe this is not the last goal in this game? So you've probably figured out by definition there's going to be another one from this game on the list later on. Incredible end to this game. But at number 10, Ben Watson, 95 minutes, 18 seconds. At number 9, 6 seconds later, and it is Cardiff. There you go, right on cue. Isaac Vassell for Cardiff against Luton to give Cardiff a 2-1 win. It's only the second game of the season. Someone says closer versus Ipswich. I say, and that was 2 seasons ago. But yes, it would have been in the list, judging by the time. But we don't want to ever think about that moment if we don't have to, do we? So Isaac Vassell, 95-24. Warnock still in charge here. This is a classic Warnock end of the game. Everyone gamble. Big Flint put up front from the back. Lovely bit of quality from Hoylett here. Cross into the box. Vassell on the near post. And it's a winning goal on 95 minutes, 24 seconds for Isaac Vassell at number 9. At number 8 is a Huddersfield goal on January the 28th for Steve Mounier at Hull. It was Hull 1, Huddersfield 2, so it's another winning goal, and it's quite similar. Obviously, only 13 seconds later than the previous one, and it's a bit of quality and a headed goal. Even better bit of quality, I think, actually, because Kachunga, with the skills on the left-hand side, skips past his man, crosses it in. Mounier actually can't miss, not as good a header as Vassell scored, but nonetheless it is a later goal. So number 8 is for Mounier for Huddersfield. On to number 7, same stadium, is Josh McGuinness, 95 minutes 50 seconds for Hull City. This one's a bit of a damp squib because it's a consolation goal. QPR are 3-1 up. McGuinness is going to make it 3-2. It's a nice goal actually, slid through by Terrell. Nice finish here, nice composure. We're going to see a lot of balls in the box and kind of chaos, but this is actually one of the more technically proficient goals in this list. So number 7, Josh McGuinness, 95 minutes 50 seconds. At number 6, we're going to Boxing Day. Brilliant end to this game, and the winning goal here scored by Sam Vokes for Stoke against Sheffield Wednesday. 96 minutes 17 seconds. We're into 96. Well, they put it up as 97. It was the 97th minute, but we're into 96 numbers now. It's Boxing Day, like I said. Wednesday are 2-1 up going into the 92nd minute. Like one of the other games we've mentioned that's going to get mentioned again. 2 goals in stoppage time here. Tyrese Campbell gets the first one on 92. That's obviously nowhere near good enough to make this list. But there's more. Stoke pile on the pressure. It's actually on YouTube most of the stoppage time here. Had a good look at it. And they really do deserve the goal, actually. They pile it on. 2 corners from the second one. Iorfa kind of heads down, causes a bit of trouble into his own goalmouth, and Vokes bungles it home. A nice winning goal there for Michael O'Neill and Stoke. December 26th, 96 minutes, 17 seconds. We are in to the top 5, and we've got to go back to that first game we spoke. For goal has given me a bit of jip on own goals because it doesn't class them as a shot because it's not by the attacking team. So I've done a little bit of guesswork, and we can say with certainty that this is the 5th latest goal of the season because fortunately Jeff Stelling went to his Sky Guy with a clock up, and the goal has been scored, and it says about 96:45. So I'm going to wind back 5 seconds and say about 96 minutes 40. So I can't be totally exact, but this is incredible stuff because Watson scores for Forest. It literally goes kick-off, centre-back, left-back, into the channel. I think it's possibly McCleary on that wing. Stands up his man, crosses it in, and Figueiredo, silly boy, on the near post, tries to clear it out, and he sticks it in. James says another one for Cullen. For Charlton, that was a 94. I think checked that one up, but wasn't late enough to make this list. Really one late penalty there. It'd be interesting to see what Infogol did with that. Whether they, because I know there was a long stoppage before that one as well. I'll check that one out, but didn't make my list. Woe Game says Luton Wigan was scenes again. Not late enough to make this list, I'm afraid. So yeah, Figueiredo's own goal, 96-40 there or thereabouts. Joshua has stolen my thunder. I'm not going to read out that comment because he's got one of them. There we go. We'll come on to that one in a sec. Look in the chat. There we go. MBE says, Wood v Newcastle Leeds. We're only doing this season, but let me know how late that one was. I'm sure it's a corker. Number 4, Jonathan says he hopes I'm safe. I'm very safe and I'm very well. And I have money and a roof and food, so I am happy and I'm not ill. Number 4 was Lucas Yao, and this is the first day of the season. And this is a really interesting one because he scores it for Sheffield Wednesday against Reading, and then he's going to sign for Reading the next week and score for Reading in the next game. So really interesting one. August the 3rd, 96 minutes, 54 seconds for Lucas Yao. It's the cherry on the cake type goal here. There's a few good ones coming up, but we're only doing this season. Calvin Phillips, yeah, that was 100 minutes. You remember that one? That was the game Jack Clark fell ill and everything stopped for ages, and that was a 100-minute goal, wasn't it, for Calvin Phillips last season? But we're on this season, and Lucas Yao is number 4. Steve Bruce, first game without him for Sheffield Wednesday. 2-1, clock running down. Nice goal, this kind of a bit of half-assed defending that late in the game, but Yao spins, puts it in, and as I say, then immediately signs from Sheffield Wednesday to Reading, who he's just scored against, and sticks in the goal for them next week. Number 3, MBE Sports says, great to see you. Great to see you too, MBE Sports. Good work. Thank you for that nice comment. Number 3 is in the same stadium. Back-to-back goals at Reading here, the home of late goals. Matt Miazga, 97 minutes and 3 seconds for his winning goal against Preston in the home of late goals. He heads this one. It's Mark Bowen's first game in charge. It's one of those ones where it could easily not have been a goal. The corner gets cleared. The beater just kind of fires the shot back in from miles out. It's parried. It's a good goal actually by Miazga because he's a centre half, isn't he, by trade. Hits it nice and early, and Rudd can't get back up. Gives Mark Bowen a great win in his first game. We are up to the top 2 now, and Joshua mentioned this one, and this is Josh Brownhill, 97 minutes 43 seconds for Josh Brownhill, October the 23rd, Bristol City 2, Charlton 1. So yes, it is a winning goal. That's 2 winning goals in a row. It's interesting how people have different definitions for winning goals. I say if it changes the game from a draw to a win, it's the winning goal, although some people say it's just the last goal that's scored in terms of the winning team. But there we go, Bristol City come from a goal down. They've only got 10 men as well. Palmer puts it into the box. I think this is a brilliant goal by Brownhill. I always imagine if I'm the defender here, I think it's Naby Sarr for Charlton. What am I thinking? I'm thinking it's coming over to Brownhill. I'm fairly tight. He has got to control this and hit this before it hits the ground. else I or the goalkeeper, and I'm going to get this. And that's exactly what Brownhill does. He kind of sticks his foot out to control it. I think there's a bit off the chest, and before it can, or as it's hitting the ground, he half volleys it in. Absolutely superb play by Brownhill. How Bristol City miss him. He's going to leave a couple of months later. Great late goal, great moment, great winner. Brownhill loses the plot, actually. It's great, good celebration as well. 97 minutes, 43 seconds, by God. And our number one, the latest goal scored in the Championship this season was in 98 minutes, 14 seconds on February the 26th for Wigan at Reading, the home of late goals, scored by Michael Jacobs. Sadly, it's not a winning goal. It's a 3-0 goal, in fact. They're putting the icing on the cake here. Of course, we're back at the Majeski. Great performance by Wigan. They're 2-0 up, heading into stoppage time. Jacobs into the channel, rides a weak tackle. They just want him to run it into the corner, but he doesn't. He goes in on the angle. A lovely dink over into the net. Rubs salt into the wound for Reading. And it is the latest Championship goal this season. 98 minutes and 14 seconds. Let's go through the top 10. Number 10, Ben Watson, Forest at Reading, 95-18. Number 9, Isaac Vassell, Cardiff v Luton, 95-24. Number 8, 95-37, Steve Mounier, Huddersfield at Hull. Number 7, 95-50, McGuinness for Hull against QPR. Number 6, 96-17, Sam Vokes. Jonathan says, my hair is starting to look like yours. You'll be lucky. Well, you look at mine shining in the lights today. I just watched it. Always end up talking about my hair. Sam Vokes, 96-17 for Stoke against Wednesday. Number 5, Tobias Figueiredo, own goal for Forest. Well, for Reading, but he's playing for Forest. 96-40-ish. Someone could correct me, I'm sure, on the correct time for that goal, but it does fit into this slot. 96-54, Lucas João, Sheffield Wednesday at Reading. Number 3, Matt Miazga, Reading against Preston, 97-03. Josh Brownhill is number 2, Bristol City versus Charlton, 97 minutes 43. And number 1, Michael Jacobs, 98-14. And of course, it's at the Majeski Stadium. Madejski, I always say it wrong, Madejski, there you go. 98 minutes 14, Michael Jacobs. Wigan versus Reading. What have we learned? Well, we've learned that Reading is the place and the team. Reading with the only team with 2 goals on this list of all post 95th minute goals. And 4 of the 10 goals in the top 10 happened at the Majeski Stadium. Do not leave early if you have tickets there. Even if your team are 2-0 down at home to Wigan, you might miss a goal. Not that you care if you're 2-0 down at home to Wigan. 5 of the goals were outright winners. 1 equaliser, 2 icing on the cake. 1 consolation goal, and one of them from Ben Watson wasn't even the last goal in the game. There we go. 7 of the goals came from balls crossed into the box. We know how stoppage time goes, don't we, guys? It's, can you get 3 yards of space? Can you stick your centre half forward and smash it into the box? Mitch Emerson says, Harrison 89, Reading 0, Leeds United 1. Yeah, late one, not in the right calibre for this list though, Mitch. Even number 10 was on 95 minutes. So there we go. There's the top 10 latest goals. I hope that was some entertainment. If there's anyone in the chat, we'll do some Q&A. Everyone's suggesting goals. I promise, because I'm a nerd, I looked through who scored and realised quite quickly it was going to have to be 95, 96 minutes for it to even count. So I have done the due diligence, and that is the top 10. I promise you guys, I absolutely promise you, unless it's 95 minutes and 18 whatever plus, it will not be on the list. Mitch says, thoughts on LUFC? Yeah, they're doing good things with their PR at the moment and their money. It was nice to see Calvin Phillips' photograph putting some flowers down for the guys that were killed in Turkey 20 years ago, I think 2 days ago, was it? And yeah, wage deferrals are all going through there. So yeah, some good news stories coming out of Leeds there. Interesting stuff from the last video. Shinny at home v Wigan, 1-0, 93, says Christopher. Yeah, needed to be 95, 18 plus to get on this list, but great moment. Oh, good one there from Martin, says, rest in peace, Reddy and Tish. Great great player for Luton, and a guy I know says that's his best moment in football. That goal by Reddy Antiche for Luton at Man City. Go out of your way to watch it. I retweeted it yesterday. You can just tell in that stadium the shock when that goes in. It's palpable. Literally, even if you watch it on an iPhone, you can tell that just murmur of, oh my God, I don't believe it. They've only gone and done it. And there's not many Luton fans. I don't know where the away fans sat at Manchester City in the 80s, but yeah, brilliant moment. Ben, as an Ipswich fan, I would love your comments on the teams in the first division from top to bottom, maybe for another chat. Yeah, maybe we can have a look at that. Ben the Beaver says 94 minutes for Matt Smith. Now, Jim asks a very pertinent question there. Did I watch the Sunderland documentary? Yes, not only did I watch the Sunderland documentary, but there is virtually an hour's chat. Hold that thought, William, on favourite player moment. An hour's chat with Graham, who appears on the Sunderland documentary, is a friend of mine, on the channel. So if you wanted some Sunderland documentary content, check out that video. It's just scroll up a few videos and it is on the channel. Great watch, the Sunderland thing. And I think, I would be biased, a good interview with Graham. And I think it was William asked, favourite playoff moment. Obviously mine as an Ipswich fan is going to be 99-2000. Ipswich 2-0 down against Bolton in 26 minutes in the first leg, get it back to 2-2, behind 3 times in the second leg and win 5-3, behind in the final and win 4-2 as well, behind for most of the playoffs but somehow managing to win an incredible Ipswich team. Some good playoff moments. Obviously Leeds fans won't thank me, but I was at a classic Derby Leeds semi-final last year. Jonathan says, can I do an all-time favourite team of Championship mix? Yeah, I suspect we can. If you go back on the channel, I did the real Championship team of the decade with all the stalwarts, not just the kind of big names. So there was no Tarabd or people like that. It was real players that never reached that heights but stayed in the Championship just forever. So check that one out. It might be a good one, good fun one to do, the all-time Championship 11. I guess we'd have to start 2004, 2005. Other playoff memories. Is the curse officially over this season? The curse on Leeds is definitely officially over. We had the draw at Brentford, didn't we? And then I was at Hull versus Leeds, and it was 4-0, by God, and the curse was lifted. Somewhere in my house, I've got a ticket for Swansea versus Leeds and a ticket for Derby versus Leeds. I don't know when the hell those games will be rescheduled, whether they'll happen, whether attendance will even be allowed. So I do have some tickets for Leeds, but we'll see. Hi to Noel, who I think is a Birmingham fan, isn't he? And he says he's going to rewind. So yeah, check that one out. I'll give you a spoiler though, Noel. No Birmingham goals in the late. Have we had New You versus Leeds, says Animation. Didn't make the cut, I'm afraid, Animation. I think 94, possibly. Your voice makes my jackhammer go full throttle, says Victor. Lovely stuff. Noel says, how are you and yours coping? Yeah, we're absolutely fine, Noel. We're very lucky. We both work in education, so we have contracts and they've been promised that they're going to be paid during this, so we are okay. Despite the fact we had to work in the epicenters of a lot of these places, but I don't want this to get political. Someone asked there in the chat, thoughts on referees. I've got quite a different take than most people on referees because I watch as a neutral a lot of times. And what I would say to people about referees and their standard is if you go to a match as a neutral, you very rarely even notice the referee because you don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not saying, thanks Noel, I'm not saying all football fans are massively biased, but I am saying most football fans are massively biased and sadly can't cope with refs giving decisions against those teams. As a Fulham fan, I hope we have another season in the Championship as the Premier League is so boring and overrated. Yeah, it'd be interesting if Fulham do stay down. Jaggy says, I'd love to see you interview an ex-ref. I'd love to interview an ex-ref. If anyone's got any contacts or ideas, yeah, I'd love to interview an ex-ref. Sausage Dog says, Prime Chris Samba or Prime Sol Bamba? Wow. It's got to be Prime Chris Samba, I think, just. Although Bamba was incredible for Cardiff in 17-18. Wasn't he perfect in that Warnock system? I do remember Chris Samba. Who was he playing for? Did he go back to Villa? Did Chris Sandman go back to Villa? I remember him getting put up front at the end of a game I was at, God knows when. It was hilarious as well. He couldn't run at all. I can't think of it. Might have even been against Ipswich when Ipswich won at Villa. But yeah, classic there, Chris Samba and Sol Bamba. How does it work for you when you do interviews? Do you pay them or do you just do it? Generally with my interviews, they're normally friends and they're normally freebies. Someone says Samba scored against Sheffield Wednesday. Deary me. I'll answer the Derby question in a minute. For Villa versus Wednesday, he went up front. There we go. A couple of things. See, look, the chat always knows. Someone asked about interviews. Generally, sort of freebies. Obviously, if I could get someone absolutely massive and magnificent, yeah, I'd be happy to pay them for their time. But obviously, most people understand that it's hard to make money out of YouTube. Wednesday went 2-0 up within 5 minutes and then they put him up front. Classic stuff. Someone asked about FIFA. I think it was Noel. I'm terrible on FIFA, Noel. I don't have a clue about things like FIFA, so I might not be much help with that. Someone asked, how are Derby ever going to get out of the league? I don't know. I really don't know. Steve Bruce ain't small. Yeah. How are Derby going to get out? Well, they need to do what Norwich or Sheffield United did, aren't they? They're going to have a plan, execute it over a couple of years, and I'm afraid they're going to have to stop Derby trying to compete with the parachute teams because it's got them very much on a knife head. Although, if Mr. Michael Dell comes in with lots of investment, then who knows? I do think Derby will have an upsurge next season if they keep Koku and they keep people like Bird and Lowe, and now we've got Sibley coming through. Add them to championship players like Waghorn, Eads, etc. Oh, I see. Sorry, Noel's talking about the FIFA generating the fixtures. Yeah, I'm sure it'll probably come out with the same results for most people. Dave says 7 academy players used this season. Yeah, I remember going to a Derby game earlier in the season against West Brom and literally having to text a couple of Derby mates saying, who are these guys? Who would that have been? I can't remember. Scottish guy for Derby. I can't remember who the two players were, but yeah, very surprised to see them in. Animation asked about current championship players. I haven't met too many current ones. It tends to be ex ones that are sort of a little bit more forthcoming with things. I think the problem is a lot of the current players, and rightly so, sort of Jason Knight, thank you, says William. A lot of the current players are very much locked down, and it's honestly it's not really worth their while doing long podcasts, especially not for the likes of me. Obviously, I like to think I offer a good service, but they tend to want proven media outlets, and it can be a bit of a bind for them. But a lot of very kind of gracious ex-players. So yeah, maybe we'll do a couple of them. I met the Cardiff team in a hotel toilet. Classic stuff. There we go. Who's my favourite team to watch this year? Ooh. Well, I mean, the three most aesthetically pleasing teams are obviously Leeds, Brentford, and Fulham. I haven't caught West Brom on a really good day live. So any one of those three, really. The second half of Leeds Hull was brilliant, and everyone loves to watch Leeds under Bielsa, don't they? Brentford at home are a really good watch. Do you know what I would like to see from Brentford? I'd love to go to a Brentford away game and see them go to a top 6 team and just take them to the cleaners. That would that would really work for me and be very entertaining. But yeah, those are probably my 3 most entertaining in there. Let me know if there's any more questions. Wales SKTF says, as a neutral, I'd love to see Brentford promoted. We were talking on my Ipswich podcast I do about the way Ipswich did it, and it very much is the way Brentford are doing it now. Obviously, things have changed with the way that Brentford would scout their players, been very different to the late 90s way that, say, a team like Ipswich would have. But this idea of buy, develop, sell, buy, develop, sell, etc. Noel says, what price tag would you say Bellingham should generate for Blues? Good question, that, isn't it? I think it could be a record, couldn't it? I think, what have we got? Sissoko and Maddison, 25. million. I think they're the record holder. I'm sure someone will correct me. The potential of Bellingham and the fact that he's already full grown and you could probably sign a 5-6 year contract. And then the other caveat is you might even get a Champions League team sign him. So if he was going Championship to a normal Premier League team, I don't know, like Everton, Crystal Palace or someone like that, you'd think 25 to 30 million. Has Jonathan really just done a super chat for me to sing a lead song? I'm going to have to do it now, aren't I? I'll do it in a sec, Jonathan. Marching on together, said it out loud, we love you, Leeds, there you go. Best player I've ever seen live, come on to that. Bellingham, if it's a Champions League team, it could be above 35 million. I sense they'll do some kind of ratcheted deal for Bellingham where it might go as high, you're welcome, Jonathan, it might go as high as Sky TV, that's my favourite league something. It might go as high as sort of 45 million with add-ons, as Noel has just said. So if he gets capped for England, if he plays 150 Premier League games. So like the Anthony Martial deal. So if you're Birmingham, basically you want to sell to Man United, don't you? If they are truly interested, because they're the one super rich thing that will do it. Best player I've ever seen live. Christ, there's a few. Victor, dearie me. Victor, I think you need to go and spend some time alone and just do what you need to calm this down. Yeah. Best player I've seen live. So Paolo Maldini, I saw play for Italy versus England in 1997. So yeah, Chelsea on Bellingham. They might not have as much money as United, but he'd fit in. So yeah, Paolo Maldini would be one. I did see the great Ronaldo play for 10 minutes for Inter Milan against Ipswich in the UEFA Cup, but this was him coming back from injury. So I can say I've seen him play, but I don't think that's fair on performance. One of the best performances I saw when Ipswich were in the Premier League was by Roy Keane at Portman Road, where it was just a joke, where you couldn't get near him, absolutely couldn't. Incredible player. Roy Keane, like 4 different midfield players rolled into one: a stopper, a deep line playmaker, a sitter. Victor, dearie me. Predictions on how the season will finish. William, I did do a bit on that. Let me just talk one more. Paolo Di Canio, I saw for West Ham in the Premier League, was absolutely incredible. So I think I'm saying Maldini, Di Canio and Roy Keane, probably the best 3 I've seen. What do I think about the QSI interest in Leeds? I think it will get very, very more interesting. Connor Salmon, says Dave. Yeah, we did see Connor Salmon play up front for Ipswich. I think QSI are just going to hold out until they're promoted, aren't they? And then they'll probably plough in. But yeah, looks very likely. And well, if it happens and Leeds can go in the same direction as Wolves, then you'd welcome it. Oh, dearie me. There we go. We have a troll in the chat, everybody, so probably the best thing to do is ignore. There we go. Right, I think we'll call it quits there, shall we? Unless there's any more questions come in. But really great to speak to everybody, and I'll try and pick a subject. You need a mod, Ben. What, a moderator? Oh, okay. Maybe I do. I don't really know how that works. Maybe I'll do some reading up on that. But generally, everyone's pretty sound in these chats, aren't they? And they're all kind of cool. I just think with football, I think the buzzword should be respect, shouldn't it? So I think you should respect every other club's history, respect players, respect referees, and respect YouTube chats as well. There we go. Who would I like to see promoted to the Championship? Thanks for the offer then, Noel. I'll have a read up on moderators. Who would I like to see promoted to the Championship? Ipswich, obviously, but that ain't going to happen. I think Oxford deserve to do it the way they play. Coventry would be a good story as well, although I think Birmingham might put the rent up. There we go. I like how you take COVID-19 off our minds. Yeah, it's hard to get it on your mind. It feels like we kind of lost our freedom a little bit, but as usual, we thank all the people. If you're still going to work, if you work today I had to go to the garage and I had to go to the bank, and a guy was a right prick to me in the bank as well, but everybody else were decent. Noel says Coventry a good side. Yeah, I know to my cost that Coventry a good side on a hell of a run, but we don't know what's going to happen to anybody's momentum when we do eventually come back, and we can speculate on that forever. As usual, any more ideas for any videos, do let me know down in the comments or in the chat here. If it works this way, I'll try and get a subject, write the script, and then God, this bit to go. First time I ever saw Oxford team play, they had Ron Atkinson as centre back. Wow, Wales SKTF was going back. Let me just do an Oxford story quickly. The first time I saw Oxford play, this was brilliant, would be 1998, Ipswich versus Oxford. It was 3-3. Dean Windass was playing for Oxford, and he scored an incredible goal where he put the free kick under the wall. It was really close in, and he kind of made his body shape so the wall jumped, and then he stuck it underneath. I don't know if there's any clips of that anywhere. Dean Windass I've seen score against Ipswich for about 5 different teams. Definitely Oxford, definitely Middlesbrough, definitely Sheffield United. Always scored against Ipswich. Actually, that might be a good video. Curses on clubs, players who always score against certain clubs, although it would just be David Nugent. Dean Windass, great striker, yeah. Bit of a crazy man, but certainly a bloody good footballer, wasn't he? In his time. Never saw him score for Bradford against Ipswich, although I remember him being... I love you, Benjamin. All Leeds, aren't we? Says Lee A.B. Thank you very much. When Bielsa's the manager, yes, we are all a little bit Leeds, aren't we? Because you cannot help but love it, can you? But I know Leeds have their detractors. I'm not one of them. I'm very much. Shearer always scored against Leeds, says Steve. I think that was ridiculous, wasn't it? That was like 20 goals. Noel says any team that plays Blues. The thing I'll accept is, like, I think Messi's got 24 goals or something crazy against. Rob says he's not Leeds. There we go. Messi's got something crazy like 20 against Real Madrid, which is incredible. I think it's acceptable when it's Ian Wright or Lionel Messi or Alan Shearer. When it's David Nugent, then yeah, absolutely terrible. Not good. But we'll have a look up and see who the big curses on clubs are. I'm sure I'll miss them out. Jack Grealish versus Birmingham last season. There we go. 26 goals for Messi. So that's ridiculous against one team. And yes, I was there for the Jack Grealish goal, and I think we all know as soon as he took that punch from the Blues fan that he was definitely going to score, didn't we? That's proper Grealish's scene, wasn't it? Nugent was a good championship striker. Yeah, that's the worst thing about it. And Ipswich were a bad championship team for a long time. So ergo, good championship striker against bad championship team. There we go. Noel says naughty things about Grealish, but yeah, great player. And Victor is still here, incredibly. Don't think he's interested in the football. There we go. Right, thank you everybody for watching. I'll try and announce the next one. We'll try and come up with a good subject to talk about. Here we go. Com says, idea, going through the teams in the league. Name a player that a championship team would want to improve another. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. His apology was hilarious. We're talking about Grealish still. Yeah, he couldn't stay in his house, could he? Silly boy Jack, does some silly things. Follow me on Twitter, at Benjamin Bloom. Ring the bell notifications. Billy Sharp against Norwich, says Evil Adam. I'm fully behind that, Evil Adam. And you can actually support me. We've got Super Chat and donations there. You can see Jonathan, thank you so much, made a donation. I did have to sing a lead song, but helps things tick over. Enjoy the rest of your day to Sausage Dog 101. Big shout out for everybody for ignoring Victor and his filth in the chat. There we go. Thank you to Jaggy. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Over and out.